The South African K4 Canoeing Championships were held on the Vaal River, starting and finishing at Mfuleni Park. This year's race featured senior and junior men and a women's team. K4 racing is confined to the Transvaal, which produces the strongest teams. The main focus will be on the senior men competing for this trophy. Or will they? Before the race began, Riverboat Police had their hands full with two watersport events being sanctioned on the same stretch of river.
The trouble was that it's also a provincial powerboat skiing. And this morning, one of our K4s was damaged, and the police said it's too dangerous. So they stopped it immediately and said we must try and do it the opposite way. So that was the only conclusion that I come is to do the same distance to the other side.
So the course was turned around, covering the same distance of 32 kilometers consisting of 2 laps. The canoeists will face a strong breeze on the way out, but will find it a help on the way in. The competitors in the senior men's race sum up their chances.
I think the Transvaal teams, the two top teams are going to do very well today. There's good opposition from Natal and Western Province, but I think we may just have the edge on them.
I think it's going to be a very tough race today. I think there'll be 4 boats up there, the 2 Transvaal boats, Northern Transvaal and Western Province. I think the boats will break away from the rest of the pack within the first half hour, and then the 4 boats will fight it out, and it'll be a sprint for the finish between the first 4 boats. But I think Transvaal's probably got the edge because we've got 2 boats that'll probably be up with the front bunch against the other province's single crew. So I hope we don't have any problems with the speed boats. The wind's pretty strong, so there's going to be a lot of water going around. We'll have to pump the boats quite a lot.
Well, I think we've got a fairly good chance, but our strongest competition is definitely going to come from Transvaal. They've got 2 boats up there, and they're obviously going to work together. But I think the race will be, although it's a 30k race, it will be won or lost on the last 1 or 2 k's.
Do you think that the fact that the race has been changed around is going to affect your chances?
No, not really. It doesn't, on this river, it doesn't really make a difference when you go upstream or downstream.
We definitely got a chance. We did a lot of training together, and that's what's important in the K4 crew, is to actually do your training together. We did not have the advantage that the Transvaal people have up here for actually having K4 races. We haven't got a K4 season in Cape Town, but by ourselves we did a lot of training.
You'll be going to a fairly strong wind on the way out. Do you think that's going to affect you much?
Yeah, the wind affects a boat. The K4 not as much. The problem, of course, are all these speed boats, swamping the boats with water. That could cause problems. Obviously, when you turn, you've got the wind from behind, so that helps again.
Ironman champion Henk Watermeyer of the Transvaal B crew is handed his paddle by the ever-present fiancée Lizelle Reinders, who has 2 brothers competing for the Northern Transvaal and Junior Transvaal teams. The spectators gather at the start, and it's Dick van der Merwe who sets them off. Transvaal B find themselves in the middle of the pack, behind Northern Transvaal, Transvaal A and early leaders Western Province. The teams jostle for position as they pass under the bridges. Western Province find their lead challenged by a fast-moving Northern Transvaal crew who pull ahead and step up the pace considerably. It's the Transvaal team's turn to dominate. Herman, one of the well-known Chalupsky brothers, has other ideas. And spurs his lads on to take first position. In almost perfect military formation, the first 6 canoes are led around this bend by the junior Transvaalers. These birds are forced to find quieter waters as the Transvaal juniors move inside the bunch in an attempt to pick up a wave. Around the buoy and back towards the start, the Natal team slip into the lead. Disaster for the Transvaal juniors, stroked by one of the Reindeer brothers as they fall back and out of contention after a collision with the Western Province boat, which rejoins the front 3 of Transvaal A and B and Northern Transvaal, Natal having lost ground. Gerard Bierkes' expression reflects the strain of the chase, as does that of Cecil Baker and that of Chris Greef. The riverboat police, having sorted out the tangle, are spectators now, as the canoes jockey for position at the end of the first lap. There are anxious moments for those on the shore. The 4 teams head back into the wind, spurred on by their supporters. Northerns lead Transvaal A and B, with Province sticking like glue. The speedboats along the river were fairly well behaved, not causing quite as much havoc as we'd feared. Westerns drop back slightly, favouring a different line as the 2 Transvaal teams work together at keeping their northern neighbours at bay. Around the far buoy for the last time, and now it's 8 kilometres to go with the wind behind them. There's little time to admire the luxurious homes used by the better off to get away from it all. Western Province fall behind the front 3. The leaders, Transvaal B, seem to take a break here. And now there's nothing in it, with Westerns having made up the lost ground. Now the end is in sight. The race proves to be a brief disruption for those with other interests. Not far from the finish now, and Greling Viljoen's Northern Transvaalers on the outside put on a spurt and crowd the luckless favourites Transvaal A out and force them to the back of the bunch. Their teammates lead, however, and hold off Northerns. and the durable Western Province combination. Only a miracle or an outboard motor will help them now. At a more sedate pace, the spectators at the finish wait expectantly for a sign of the action. There they are, and it's neck and neck between Northern Transvaal and Transvaal B closest to the shore. Transvaal B triumphed by a boat length. And the valiant Province team come in third. The Transvaal crew hardly disguised their pleasure. As their teammates dejectedly filled fourth place. K4, a uniquely Transvaal sport, once again sees the trophy remaining on the Vaal River's shore.
Well, it went well for us. We were perhaps a little disappointed that in the beginning, you know, we were paddling with our other team, the A team, and we just couldn't get away from the other guys. So in the end, we just had to wait till the end. But we were very happy with the results.
Well, where do you think the race changed for you?
It's actually probably only changed about halfway back on the last length. Western Province caught us again from behind, and then we realized that we'd actually have to begin doing something. And when we began pulling harder, the boats just began peeling off.
Once your A team dropped away there, they didn't seem to be able to make up the leeway.
No, it was a bit of a surprise. Just before the bridge, the Northern Transvaal team cut them out, and they obviously had been feeling the strain because they couldn't get back into the group.
So you guys made your push towards the end there. Did you find it tough?
Yeah, it was a tough race all the way, especially at the last bit was only between us and Northern Transvaal, but we were lucky to make it.
Okay.
We was
The weary Northerns team weren't unhappy with second place.
Transvaal B team were extremely fast and fit, but so were we. But I think towards just after the turn of this first lap, our rudder broke, and we struggled a bit staying on the wave, and they knew it, and they paddle hard when they see we struggle, and then towards the end we just tired a bit and had to paddle all over the river, so it was a bit hard to race.
Okay, you guys tried to push Transvaal A out there, and it seemed to work. They couldn't catch you again.
Well, we didn't really. That's how it goes in the turns. When you get the chance, you make it hard for the other boat to come back. It's hard to come back, and you waste energy to come back every time. So when you get the chance, you try to drop it.
After a tough battle, Province stroked their way to a satisfying third.
Okay, Chris, tell me what happened out there. You guys seem to drop back quite often and then have to catch up.
Yeah, the Transvaal boats tactically worked as a group to get rid of us, and once the Transvaal junior boat being stroked by Benny Reinders' younger brother actually made a tactical move to get on the best wave where we were already, and they actually went sideways in front of us, and that cost us dropping out of the front group the first time. We lost about 200-300 meters there, which we had to catch up, and then the other time also another Transvaal boat cut us out. They were faster than us on speed, but we had a very good cruising speed, and we managed to catch them 3 times. But that takes a lot of strength out of you, and coming up to the last sprint here, we just didn't have the punch to stay with the front 2 boats. But we are very happy that we beat the favourites, which was the Transvaal A boat. It's a long way to come, and I'm glad we're in the medals.
The senior men's event was the one which made the day, and Transvaal B going off with honours there very closely second, Northern Transvaal. Western Province and then Transvaal A bringing up the rear. Who knows, perhaps they will be Transvaal B next season.